I mean, we all love to have great personnel. I understand that. You know, you'd love to have great personnel. But the reality is you don't always have great personnel. But it's our job as coaches, as parents, to get our athletes at least a foundational aspect so they can deploy their true physiological self. Because here's what it comes down to. If emotionally you're not regulated, arousal and anxiety, you can't deploy who you truly are physically. You can't. You're handicapped. The street is loaded with players that are talented, but they don't have it from here up to be able to regulate themselves. Okay?
Here's 3 words we really like to use with parents: effort, attitude, and energy. So if they can focus as parents in rewarding or encouraging those 3, effort, attitude, and energy. So from the sidelines especially, that is what we want to create, and that's going to help build intrinsic motivation that was talked about before, but also that performance in their child or their athlete.
Here, effort is, now I never played volleyball, but I can move, so effort is, if I'm going for a loose ball, I give full effort towards a specific goal or objective. Energy is just an abounding piece of you kinesthetically. Let's go. Come on, people, let's go. There's an energy about you. And some of it's mental. I tell my basketball players, when you break the huddle and you walk out for the opening tip, let's go, baby, here we go. Let's go. Instead of just walking out there, you know. I see these club basketball players, it's like, oh my gosh, I want to light a fire under their butt. Energy, it's contagion. You know, if I'm energetic, it starts rubbing off on people. Or when I say, let's go, it gets me excited. A specific motion, like if I'm a baseball player and I give full effort towards a fly ball, because some people don't. But energy is just that, both physiological, psychological combination that is contagion with other people, that rubs off. It's nonverbal, it's verbal.
It's your aura.
Yeah, good. Your aura.
It's how much you give rather than what you have inside.
There you go. Nice. I like that. Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, if I tell, because I work with a lot of basketball players, I tell these basketball players, you want to get recruited? Walk around saying, let's go, baby, let's go. Come on, let's keep working. To your teammates, they love seeing that. They love seeing that kind of energy, that passion. Okay? So, yeah, the parent role is that specifically I think you're talking about is for them to, again, reward and encourage the process instead of the outcome. That's key, because if you're at home as a parent and all you're doing is going, well, did you get to play this weekend? Did you get to play in Omaha? Did you get to play? And that's what you're setting your athlete up for. That's what their schema is framing it. Then it's going to be hard for that athlete to see past that. But if you say, how did it go in Omaha? Well, you know what, Mom? I didn't get to play very much. Well, but still, how did you guys do as a team? Well, we won. But you know what? You helped that team so much on a daily basis with your hustle and practice, with, you know, you running drills, with you, what else do they do? Help me, coaches. What else do the players do? Taking stats. You know, just that energy off the bench, that energy, effort, and attitude. You know, one of our slogans is effort, energy, and attitude start in the mind, because they do. Many athletes don't think about that. So as parents, effort, energy, and attitude start in the mind, and we control them. I can't control someone who's a middle who's 6'4". I can't control their vertical. I can't control anything about them. But what I can control is my own effort, energy, and attitude, and what I bring every day. Same thing with parents, that we reward that effort, energy, and attitude, not necessarily outcome performance. Does that make sense? Because if parents, if we just keep going, well, did you get to play? Did you get to play? That's an outcome. And we don't want to reward that. We want to reward the process. And that's key. You know, I'll tell you what, parents, I played college football, and I played with a guy named Greg Nienheiser. I'll never forget that name. Never forget that name. And he never stepped on the field in 4 years. Kind of like the player you're talking about. I played with All-Americans, and sometimes I forget their names, but I'll never forget Greg's name because he never stepped on a field, but he worked his butt off in practice. He had a great attitude. So when I left after 4 years, I remember walking up to Greg and saying, "It has been a pleasure to know you for 4 years. You're an inspiration to me." And he looks at me like, "I'm an inspiration to you?" And I says, "Yes." I says, "Because you probably knew from early on you weren't going to play very much, but you worked your butt off. You had a great attitude. You brought that effort, energy, and attitude." So as parents, that's what we want you to reward. That piece about effort, energy, and attitude. And that's what we can control. And that's how you can help your team whether you play or not. And that's very important, right? Does that make sense? You too? Right on. Okay. These are adolescent athletes. By the way, I teach adolescent psychology at CU in Metro downtown, so I know all about the physiological process in adolescence and the emotional and the social process. And adolescent athletes are going through a lot of changes, number one, to begin with. Okay, the number one thing we struggle in adolescence, male and female, is identity. Who are we? Where do we fit in? So parents provide that critical role at home of providing stability. They provide an educational piece, and they really set the foundation for deploying an athletic and educational competency. You know, as an instructor in college, when someone comes into my class, I can usually tell, I would guess 9 out of 10 times what kind of climate and culture they came from in a home, depending on their study habits and their production in the classroom. Well, the same thing in volleyball. The climate and culture at home really sets a foundational aspect. I was talking to a college coach a few weeks ago, and he says, you know, we can do a bang-up job at practice. We can do a bang-up job in our camps. And then they go home, and it can get unwound. So parents, to answer your question, are vital. Parents are vital in this process, that they set a foundation that is process-oriented, that is oriented towards helping them be the best they can be on a day-to-day basis, but not so much outcome-based. The outcome base will take care of itself. It's process and really focus on that. Because again, you guys could be doing a wonderful job here, but then they go home and the first thing a parent asks them is, well, did you get to play? What was your role tonight at practice? Did you play? Did you? And then all of a sudden, they could even go home feeling good that they contributed, they took stats, they're energetic, they're passionate, they're feeling pretty good. And then they get in the car, and by the time they get home, it's like, oh my gosh, they feel like they got undressed, verbally undressed. So we have a cue card. We don't have it with us tonight, but it's rules for parents. The ride home. It's 2 compliments, no questions. Because again, athletes, it's the foundational aspect.